Pull the hood and spread 'em for episode 4 of season 3 of the GCPD.
The Gotham City Podcast Department. To inform, to entertain.
Bust and dust.
Defense 4 is fine.
Nice.
Welcome to 3rd edition.
I actually am going to say all defense is trash.
Yeah, it's irrelevant now.
Or general deck is trash.
Yeah. Now, after our game, I really want to put Bronze Tiger to the test.
Oof.
See if he's as unattackable as we think he is.
It did make me think the guys... Well, we'll get into it. It's okay. So...
Oh, we're going to get into it.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting right in there.
We finally... I mean, two of us, half of the podcast now, has actually played a 3rd edition game.
We can legit say, we're back with a brand new edition.
Oh, yeah.
I experienced a game by osmosis, so actually 3 of us have
That's
played.
right.
I was busy.
You're busy. What are y'all dressed? Officer Eggers is super fancy. It looks like he attended the policeman's ball this evening.
Yeah. Yep. That was it.
Yeah. His mustache is going
I was trying to guess new Kevlar vest.
nice.
Yeah.
That's
I was
good.
working some legislative
Yeah.
policy.
Nice. Nice. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, this is Josh, and I play currently the Joker.
Going this way?
Sure.
Sure, we can go this way. Eggy, and I'm still trying to play the game, but I'm going to play Bane. Or Soldiers of Fortune.
Soldiers of Fortune.
League of Shadows.
It's still, I might. Honestly,
100% you should.
I'm probably going to play whatever has the deck out.
Lady-
good.
That is the way to play the
Yeah.
game currently. Is
Lady
whatever.
Shiva is so gorgeous, it makes me want to start League.
Yeah.
I
I
can
mean,
get-
it's that Roz model for me.
Yeah.
He is so extra. He is
Yeah,
the most
he's-
extra.
yeah.
But he's Roz is extra.
I love
Is that?
I love that he's got the shirt off and he's
Yeah.
just like so classic
Shirt
Roz.
off, flowing like cape streamer thing.
He's just like, oh, is it time for a fight? Shirt off, bring it.
He's like, just give me that scroll.
and then the guy on his knees in front of him. I hope I see some mods, if you know what I'm saying.
No,
Gross.
no.
Stefan understands that joke. I told him how to win a fight.
Oh yeah, perfect. Good.
Yeah, so I'll probably end up playing League just because the deck's out, and if you want to play 3rd edition, you should probably have some extra cards.
Well, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
little
I'm
bit.
Colin, and I play Bat Family.
Whoa.
Yep.
Nigel. Whoa. What?
Is it Collins all in Bat Family or
Well,
season 3 is trash?
Bat
Yeah.
Family are Titans because they're painted.
You don't have to, Colin, we've been over this in second edition. You don't have to have, like, hard and fast. You don't have to be Bat Family or bust.
What? I'm not saying.
I'm being a little.
I literally,
Oh, okay.
I literally,
I'm being a
as you were
little
saying that,
tongue-in-cheek.
said I'm Bat Family or Titans because they're painted.
Okay.
Yeah.
But just don't be on a single team boat. Go ahead, Nigel. Sorry.
Oh, no, I'm Penguin. I'm the single team boat. But it's a duck boat, so it's,
And Nigel
is a
has now a year-long wait again for new Penguin cards this time instead of Penguin models. So.
I really hope that's not true. I really hope they come out
They
faster.
did actually say apparently that all the cards are going to be out by the end of this year.
oh, thanks. That's awesome.
by Spanish Christmas.
Yeah. In just a mere 11 months, you can jack off while you... Never mind.
That escalated very fast.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I mean, the decks are important, and they
They're,
should
they're
just...
super important.
I don't care about new models. I don't want any new crew. I just would be cool if you just had cards to play a...
Yeah.
Like, that should be something that I would think by, like, Adepticon we'd be all like, yeah, we have our decks.
You'd hope.
I would have thought by last Spanish Christmas we all should have our decks. but-
You'd honestly think that with the release of 3rd edition, they had that prepped. But
Who do you think's coming out in December? Who's the guy who's really getting the
December?
shaft? Like, for their decks. So if they're all
who's
coming out this year.
the 11 month?
Penguin?
Yeah,
I actually don't think it'll be Penguin because I think that's like
yeah, I think they're going to go for, like, the out-of-the-way crew. But who do they think is out of the way? Like, the Riddler?
maybe.
I mean, freezes maybe
Good
do.
bad box. Freeze is probably coming up. I think
I feel like the Riddler's too
Soldiers of
necessary.
Fortune will get something soon. Just because, like, Bane's out. They've got like a whole bunch of stuff just sitting there.
Well, they got to make the Deathstroke box, so.
I am, after our game yesterday and reading the Riddler's rules, I am relatively certain that Riddler is unplayable with the generic deck.
Yeah.
I think there are probably some crews that can muddle through okay, but I think the Riddler may be unplayable.
Organized crime could be one that
They
waits.
could easily. No, Waits? You think Waits?
I think waits.
Here's-
Just because I think
here's
they
my
can actually use the general deck the longest.
Here's my thought process on this. I think it's going to be based around what models get thrown out, and given it's random, but like what we've seen so far is like what came out really early on in second edition, get new models. So if we can trace back to what got models early on in second edition, that's probably what my bet is to get newer stuff and newer cards.
I mean, that would make sense, but I don't think that's how Night Models thinks about things.
I mean, that's how it happened though, because like the Batman and the Joker set.
Well, those are just like the
most important
iconic.
crews, yeah.
yeah.
And then League was early on too, though the Roz box. So it's like a lot of those things were very early on.
Sure.
And they've decided to rock those first. So maybe that is the context.
I mean, my guess is that some crews are going to get theirs as their. So, like, Freeze needs a starter
Freeze needs
box.
an actual leader.
Ivy, Birds of Prey is going to get a starter box because they discontinued their starter box,
Yep.
essentially.
And the movie's out.
And the movie's out. So I think we're going to get a Birds of Prey box, and I think we're going to get a Black Mask box. That would be my guess.
I'm going to be super hype. I want an alternate head so I can just have Ewan McGregor.
I mean, that would be sweet.
That's why I just want to play Ewan McGregor. I don't care about anything else.
Yeah. Speaking of Birds of Prey, no one's seen it yet, right?
No.
That's right.
It's actually getting
Rave
really
reviews.
good reviews, and I actually
Wait, really?
yeah, and
I've seen nothing but bad reviews.
I've seen pretty much only good reviews, and one of my coworkers who has really in general very good taste in movies, she went to see it twice already because
Whoa.
she's so impressed by it and impressed by like the female characters in it, and so I want to go see it. I'm curious if anybody else has, but I
want to see it as well.
I'd like to get out there and
I want to go see it. I've had sort of the piss taken out of me on it, not just because of the alt-right dudes on YouTube, but
you let them ruin every movie.
Yeah.
For
no.
you.
Usually they encourage me to go spite watch it. You know, like we've got to go see Captain Marvel 4 times.
Yeah,
But just the regular reviewers have all been crapping on it.
Huh.
That it's like, oh, it's like been pooping on it a little bit.
But to get good reviews, so not all of them can be
They had to
doing
change
that.
the name, and then it got bad box office opening.
They
And now
didn't
Sonic beat it.
change the name. They just changed like the marquee, basically.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nonsense change because they've already been marketing it that way for a year.
right.
or
That
whatever.
it's already
So,
the Harley Quinn movie.
Yeah.
yeah.
The change actually, if anything, I just feel like it confuses it, and it just adds another log to the like studio misfire. You know, like, oh, here we go.
What did they actually call it? What was the change?
They
So
just call it Birds of Prey.
The
now.
movie is it's Harley Quinn.
Oh yeah, that's
quote,
what. Yeah.
Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
Oh, instead of like Birds of Prey, the
and
emancipation of...
the name of the title of the movie is still Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinzel or Quinn or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's still the name. It's still like the title when you go see it or whatever. It's that what movie theaters put in their marquee, like this is the movie playing, and like what it is in like papers and whatever, it has been changed to Harley Quinn : Birds of Prey.
Okay.
Because they believe if they say it's Harley Quinn, it'll cause people to wander through and be like, Harley Quinn, I know her. That I want to watch that.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yep.
Whether or not that's true, I don't know.
Yeah, you never know. There's probably some kind of behavioral thing around it, honestly.
Sure. I mean, she's certainly one of the most popular DC characters by far.
I guarantee there's people with marketing backgrounds and behavioral science when it comes to the movie to decide to do that.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Dumb, but I get it.
The thing that I heard positive about it was that Black Canary was super awesome, but then they sort of pooched underutilized her in the movie because it's a Harley movie.
Which sucks because she's like the leader.
And it's like a fake origin story for 3 people. They should have just had their own movies or some sort of, made it more of an origin story, not a Harlequin.
So I bet anybody that like really, really cares. So I have a guy is going to go see it tonight.
Yeah.
And I guarantee. I told him to his face, I was just like, you're going to hate it because it's not like a shot for shot like remake of the original comics. Like it's clearly like totally like the rough story of Cassandra Cain getting like sold into like slavery and then getting busted out, like that's like
People are
real thing, but Harley wasn't
Yeah.
involved. In
I think the biggest thing about all of that, it's like it's never going to be like they're making it for a broader audience, overall, and I don't think it's ever going to be one for one anymore when it comes to like, comics and stuff.
I disagree slightly. That I think that's the mistake that when comic books go wrong, is it's okay to want to make it a little bit for broader audience, but you still have to capture the comic book. And it can go wrong both ways. Joel Schumacher, his whole thing was, it's a goofy comic book, so I'm going to really lean into it being a stupid comic book. And then it was so stupid that nobody could enjoy it. And it was like so nonsensical and colorful and dumb.
Yeah.
So you can go the other way, and we're but you still it should be the property should be recognizable to the people who read the paperbacks, and then
I'm not saying completely like crap on it.
Yeah,
but I'm just like I'm saying like this movie is an example where it's like it sounds like they did an okay job. I get it's not like it's frustrating that Harley took the spotlight in it overall.
Yeah,
but it's just like.
Well, I mean, it's so close to just being a crime caper movie that you almost don't need supers or the DC license. It could have almost just been a Guy Ritchie movie, and then it would have almost been better. It would have been just from a marketing standpoint, because that's the thing is they're confusing you with this. They're throwing the comic book name, and you have Harley Quinn in there,
right?
But again, essentially, it's just Ewan McGregor as a crime boss. All the other characters, their powers aren't really that relevant, or they're really downplayed. Like,
none of them are powered except for Canary.
Canary, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're, and then they downplayed Black Mask entirely. So he's more just a crime boss. He has some odes to his identity in the comics, but it's just kind of a different guy, just because it's more, recognizable or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just need to bring in the goofy comic stuff. Like, keep the comic-y stuff. Just don't go full Schumacher. But I don't know. It's just. Again, if it was a Guy Ritchie movie, if they just repackaged it and it was not Harley Quinn, but it was somebody else that was like people like to go to theaters and see, it could have been, I don't know.
It wouldn't have had to been a Harley Quinn movie is what you're saying. Like, it could have just been good by itself. And I do agree. And like, I wish that was the case. And like, so they didn't morph things so bad. Like, it would have just been a good movie standing by itself without having to be like huge actress or huge actor and like make it about that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could have just been like Sirens, like Gotham City Sirens, rather than Birds of Prey, and just have the Sirens characters just doing shenanigans, running from the Black Mask. And
I think that they're trying to like put. This is the only thing that bothered me about it initially. Well, one of the things that bothered me about it initially. And again, like I said, I've heard great things, so I'm excited to go see it. None of us have seen it, so we don't really know. But I was just like, them putting Harley Quinn in the Birds of Prey instead of having a Sirens movie and a Birds of Prey movie made it feel like they were like, this is our women empowerment series, and we're just going to put all of them here.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing about DC is actually have like tons of awesome women characters.
Right.
Throw them on one is like, feels like such a waste. Like, there's so many cool, like, that's what's awesome about the Batman game is there actually is so many awesome like characters that are women. And then they're actually super strong and powerful, like in the game, and that's what's awesome when you play it and look through the catalog of actual minis as well. You're like, this is sweet, but you're right to put them all and ram jam into one movie. You're like, no, don't do that.
But by the same token, I'm super. My point earlier was that I'm super pro adapting stories for the screen and a totally different, like taking a totally different bent on them and just like trying to keep the ghost or the core of what's important, but tell a different story, because my thought process is if what I wanted was a literal translation of the work to the screen, like that just seems like a waste of time for everybody. The work already exists. I can read it.
Yeah.
Like I don't need it literally translated to the screen. Like make it worth me sitting through the story again. Make it worth my time. Like tell me something different. Show me something different. So barring something that I'm just point. Like, it looks so cool and I really want to see somebody put it on the screen, and I feel like there's not that many stories that are like that.
It's say they took, they kept it Birds of Prey, they've reimagined it, but essentially, like in the preview, and then take liberties with the story and do stuff. But in the preview, they should just be. This is the thing with the marketing of it. There should have been a shot, like iconic shots of Huntress, where she doesn't have to have the fully like dumb sexualized where she's like running around in bondage gear, basically in a helmet. But just where she's in all black and she's like on the top, she's on a rooftop with one leg up on a gargoyle and she's looking down at the crossbow or something.
Right.
Real iconic, like comic leg type shot.
That's, I think it wasn't until like one of the last trailers that they even hinted at Canary's cry.
Yeah.
And like the whole, like we should have seen Canary like arms open, hair like blowing back, just like
blasting a street
blast,
with like a car and everybody getting blasted. There should have been a couple just shots in the. And again, I have not seen the movie. I think the movie's probably fine. It's just
and Harley hitting like a home run with a hammer.
They showed that. Like that's the other thing too is that Harley is just such an iconic sort of portrayal of the character, and she's adapted it, and also she's actually pretty close to what people would think of to be Harley. But she's using her bat and she's hitting people in the face with cans, and it sounds like all they show her meeting. Well, it's actually not Bud and Lou. It's Bruce, apparently.
Yeah, that actually tilted me.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like just the trailer and she calls him by his proper name later, but
no,
if they're
Bruce.
Not Bud and Lou, that is aggravating.
Yeah, exactly. It should be Bud and Lou. But they didn't want to just have random, because they just introduced them, and apparently like the hyenas aren't even in it. She like meets them and then they go away and then they come back at the end. But it's basically an excuse for her to say reference Bruce Wayne. And then
it's just like having R2-D2 and C-3PO in Rogue One.
Yeah.
Like spoiler alert.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's just even if the whole point of the movie is like a Huntress is in street clothes and just a normal person until the very end where she gets her outfit. At least in the commercial show the end game, like the actual comic book team. So they all look like Harley and they look like this is like an assembled thing.
Why?
It's just what's eye-catching. It's like, it's appealing. It gets the nerds excited because they're like, that's what I want to go see, a comic book movie.
Okay.
And then everybody else, it's a comic book movie, they're expecting it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, if it's just like a weird, like a Harley just slumming it with the gals with just anybody at work, like there's an accountant and a professional singer running around, I guess, with her and a kid. So it's like, what's that Paul Rudd movie where they have like the bad kid parents or whatever, and they like have to
that's
like
what it's called.
Yeah. Yeah. So she just like adopts some kid and then but no, it's whatever. They should have explained more. Also, then had at least a good Black Mask shot so the bad guy looks like Black Mask.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of Black Mask,
because apparently he does don the Black Mask somewhere at the point in the movie, but
that's what I was.
Well, I hope it gets melted onto his head.
I don't know if it's that.
Okay.
Well, at any rate, we might get a Birds of Prey and a Black Mask box and the cards soon.
That was a long way around, which is, if you like Ewan McGregor, Long Way Around is an awesome documentary that he's in. It's one of like my favorite documentaries.
McMillions?
No, Ewan McGregor and his mates, like they get on motorcycles and they go all the way around the world.
Oh.
It's super awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway. Well, we spent 15 minutes talking about Birds of Prey. You can give me 2 seconds talking about Ewan McGregor, all right?
All right.
Get out of here.
You used all 2 of them. So.
I gave you, you had them.
All right.
You used them.
Yeah. We didn't even
Long
get
way
crap.
around. Yeah.
Put in the bank.
It was an exciting journey.
So back to Nigel's original question of who we think could be at the end of the...
It's Penguin. Let's just move on.
At the rainbow.
Yeah, it's 100% going to be Penguin. And then Organized Crime will also be at the bottom of the barrel. No. I think they're going to go through all the big sexy crews.
Well, if Black Mask gets a box, Organized Crime
will be part of that.
Yeah, baby.
Well, I don't think he'll get a box early. I just don't think they care that much.
I think
if they do an OC crew,
I definitely think they care about tying into movies.
I don't think they care about tying him from that movie.
Maybe not.
It might not be Ewan McGregor. It might just be an excuse to have Black Mask because he's just an OC guy who's been overlooked since First Ed.
Yeah, right.
So,
right. I mean, they've done a lot of other movie stuff.
Yeah, and they've got Jason Todd's. So you've got Black Mask and Todd, and
I mean, some of it'll probably be driven by whatever their sales data from Second Ed is and what like sold the best would be my guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Central City Villains.
Silver lining for everybody, though, I guess, is if you're using the general deck, all the free agents will represent a marginal deck change or addition.
That's true.
So you get a little, at least sprinkle in some cards if you want.
Spice of life.
And if you're a Penguin player, you're charismatic, so you get 2 free agents.
The free agents are weird because it's like they add on to your deck.
Yeah,
like the character cards, because they're not a part of the original 20 or the base 20 cards of your deck, you actually add on to it.
Yeah.
And I think adding cards to your deck is actually bad.
So it's like Magic where you want.
I think you want to be able to get to your best cards faster.
Okay.
I think I'm not sure it's as simple as best cards.
Well, I know for like Bane the Bat card, you want the deck. Because for like what it does, it allows him to give him an extra move and it's super valuable in game.
Yeah.
So maybe that's an example of like, it's very, very good.
I think you just decide, is this going to be really good in any time it comes up? And if it is, then you put it in the deck.
You slam.
Yeah. Like I played with the Jokers last night because I was interested to see. And it's good. That card's good. I didn't even use it for the objective, but Showtime is a good card.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, like, I agree. Like, I would not just put a character card into my deck just because I had that character. I'd want it to be... Like, I'm not sure Harley's is very good, honestly. So I don't know if I'll ever play with it.
Yeah.
But,
so before we go too far, we have a convention coming up where you can use all of these cards we're talking about. And as we play Third Ed at MusonCon on June 12th through the 14th. Tickets are on sale now. You can book a hotel room. I believe, where would they find information on the hotel rooms, Nigel?
It's on the store page, so when you go to buy your ticket, there's a bunch of, if not links, at least each hotel's been listed, so you can copy-paste it. But I think the hotel links are there.
Okay, yeah.
And then there's also a store page that has it, and then also on Facebook, I believe he's got a big pinned announcement too.
Yep. So Friday, we'll have a smaller event. I believe we're going to have it starting at noon. And then hopefully that'll be done around 5-ish, and people can go get dinner or do whatever. But I want to try on Friday to do kind of an organized free play. This is the idea. I was talking with Stefan about it. And what we were kind of talking about doing is trying to like organize people to actually play free play that maybe couldn't show up to the tournament at noon.
Oh, sure.
So you'll have reasons to come play even if you're not in the tournament.
Yeah.
So, and then
maybe
of course,
show off Batman to the other people that are at the convention for different games and give them a chance to see what a sweet game it is.
Yep. And then Saturday will be our big 350-point tournament, which is just the standard. It will be the standard format. I think the whole weekend's going to be the standard format, but we're still kind of on the fence. One might be Eternal, but we're unsure. Then Saturday or Sunday, I mean, we don't quite know what we're going to be doing, but we'll know hopefully by next week. We'll have a full list of what we're going to do. That'll be super sweet.
Come play us.
Come play us, yeah.
For reals.
It will be super fun. I hope to have some really cool tables there. Yeah, it'll be awesome. The Hy-Vee Event Center in downtown Des Moines.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a super cool venue.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a hotel right next door, so you can like skyway in, or there's a bunch in the area too that you can walk a block and get to us, or get an Uber just a little bit away.
It'll be fun too, and then we can go straight downtown kind of afterwards.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Blaze it up every night.
That
pizza.
Blaze Pizza.
Yeah, Blaze Pizza.
Blaze Pizza. You can't be.
That's not legal here.
Not
Not
420.
legal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not 420 legal.
So that's MusCon. Come see us. Come hang out. Get to know us, and we hope to see you there. So next,
Any other news and announcements?
next item on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that was part of news. And
That was
announcements.
part of it,
I missed
yeah.
beep, beep, beep.
I'll just edit it in.
All right.
So next thing is we have, if you want to support the podcast or our YouTube channel or whatever, we have a Patreon. It's Patreon, patreon.com or underscore slash podcasts or slash GCPD underscore podcast. There we go. And if you're watching on YouTube, it's on the screen right now. So
Perfect.
Yep.
And get on that YouTube. Like and subscribe and smash the like button and like and subscribe.
Yep, exactly. Nigel nailed
It
it.
really helps the channel. Also, Colin puts a lot of work into it, and they're really awesome. And the sound's really good. And I can already tell he's going to get pretty cheeky with some of the picks he throws up during certain spots.
What does that mean?
Well, cheeky.
You can see as the podcast going, there's like a blank. It's just like a screensaver, basically. Of a random thing.
Then most of the time,
and then occasionally someone could say poop, and he could throw a poop emoji on the screen.
Oh, okay.
But obviously we can get.
So you better be paying
exactly
close attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
It's gonna be some Easter eggs in there, I'm sure.
Nice.
Again, it's just what I picked up on when I watched our first episode on YouTube.
Yep. It was fun. Video editing is way more fun than audio editing. Holy crap. It's like 1,000 times more fun.
Yeah. Yeah, you can go full Tyler Durden on it.
Yeah. I have no idea who that is, so
What?
I don't know what I just
Fight
be
Club.
up to.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, I watched it frame by frame, so I saw some stuff. And he's throwing it in there.
Perfect.
Yep.
We'll be all banned from YouTube soon.
Oh, yeah, the nip slips.
Yeah.
John Andrews, you have to catch the nip slips. They were in there on our unboxing of the third edition box.
That's true.
You just have to catch them.
What?
You weren't here for the podcast, but
Okay.
Josh had us covered.
So many nip slips.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. It's interesting.
We're on YouTube.
I think I'm glad I missed that one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep. So, Josh and I played a game.
It happened.
It happened.
We received
We finally got the stuff.
We received our stuff.
Yep.
We broke it out, and we played a game.
Can I borrow some cards?
Josh played a pre-emancipated Harley Quinn into Colin.
I didn't play Harley Quinn
What?
you did
How'd you
not.
get Bun Lou in there?
because they're Joker.
Joker.
God, that's
Henchman.
stupid. Flavor locked.
You lose.
Yeah.
Also, that one would be the emancipated. She's a free agent.
No, but if she's working for Joker, though.
Emancipated she's kissing Joker goodbye.
Yeah.
She's a free woman.
She's done with him.
She's not kissing
Yeah.
the Joker.
I know that one's a free agent, but if she's working for the Joker,
Well, the Joker gets her back every once in a while. Just watch a cartoon and just like randomly, she's just always
yeah,
Joker has his ways.
there's an abusive relationship. Yep.
About that game.
Yeah. So, I think the number one takeaway for me, anyway, was that the cards are important. Not just the tactic cards, but the event cards are, I would say, probably the biggest. So,
Well, specifically the encounter card. I think
the
is what it's
encounter
gonna be.
card is a kick in the balls for
Whatever
Bat
the
Family.
one is that adds the wrinkle, not the deployment one. I
That's
think
the event.
it's the event. Is encounter the deployment? Okay.
No. Oh, sorry. Oh my God. What is? Oh, I
Might
took a
be right.
picture.
For those who are unaware,
It's exposed as the card.
that's the name of the card, but I'm talking about
Yeah.
the decks. So
Oh.
I think it's that the encounter deck is what determines your deployment zones, and then the event card or event deck gives you a card that puts a wrinkle on the rules for that
Yeah.
Yeah.
match,
So we specifically had standoff as our deployment,
which is
which
an
is a weird
interesting
one. It's you can't do any damage basically in turn one, and you basically it's like you're starting back to back to do each other.
It's
in the middle
more
of the
restrictive
table.
than you can't deal damage because you can't use any ability that causes damage.
Yeah.
So, for example, I was playing Gaggy. He couldn't gas jumper on turn one because gas jumper causes damage. So,
Weird.
yeah. Anyway,
But yeah, so you like
and you start out literally
That's the deployment.
You start out literally
seen that.
next to each other.
Yep. And I was playing Bat Family, so I was just like, well, I'm just going to go jam up his guns with my Bat Family, and then I'll use my Bat Family trait to go first. And then I'll just knock out his guns and then move on. Which, I mean, I felt like it worked.
For the most part, you're pretty successful.
But the exposed card, what that does is, I'll just read it. At the start of each raise a plan phase, beginning with the player with the initiative, each player chooses an enemy model. During that model's activation, its controlling player cannot play objective cards. So that means you can't use it as a resource or as scoring.
During that model. That's
that
single
one
model's
model.
activation.
Yeah.
Which is huge for a 4-model crew.
That's very huge. Yeah.
Yep.
That's very
Yep.
significant.
So if Josh was able to knock out a model in a turn that wasn't that model, it's like, sweet, I have 2 models that have an opportunity to score.
It's really bad.
Unless I have cards that could score at the end of the turn or something like that. But I think almost every card in my deck was during
the
play, basically.
the vast majority of cards score in phase 3, which is the execute the plan phase.
But
Yeah.
I have a question. Do you guys think that low model count is like below 5? It's still a big detriment in terms of scoring? Okay. Just because of getting objective or some suspect markers
I mean, this
down.
is 100% based on one learning game.
And I get that.
But yes, I think having a low model count army is a detriment.
It makes some of the plots are just almost gimmies. Like the plot to get the extra attack dice once per round is if you're playing against Bat Family and you have like a semi like 7 or 8 models, it's just you get it. You can't not get it.
Well, you do still have to score your violence objective and your regular objective.
These are the score your objectives, which I mean,
but the other one is have more suspect. It's also you came close to preventing me like on the in the first turn and the second turn from getting it, or first turn from getting it. But it's have more suspect markers in play than your opponent has models.
Mm-hmm.
So if they only have 4 models and I have 9, it's not that hard.
With Inspire, it's not that hard, yeah.
But Colin did play in such a way in the first turn that I actually had to take moves with Joker and Gaggy and and Dynamite. All 3 of them I had to take moves, or I guess Dynamite I didn't, not Dynamite, but at least Joker and Gaggy both took moves that I would not have made if Colin didn't reveal some of my suspect markers to get those counts down.
Okay.
And it was solely to get that plot to go off, which put Joker kind of in harm's way.
yeah. But yeah, it's like the game's weird. It didn't feel any short. I mean, because we were looking up so many rules, I think it took us 4 hours to play or something like that.
I mean, that's just due to the first game. You know?
Yeah, but I mean, that was when we played second edition Batman for the first.
Sure. I mean, the game is shorter.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Once we don't have to look stuff up, it's going to be shorter. Significantly shorter.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm pretty confident.
I mean, there's also, like, we don't know the rules yet for building decks. Like, do you build decks every round in the tournament?
No, you don't. You build a deck. Period. Full stop. Done. It's part of your list.
It's part of your list? So if you have 2 lists...
Then I guess you get a deck for the other list. Whatever your list is, that's your deck.
Weird.
Why is that weird?
Well, you have to rebuild your deck every round.
What? I just said the opposite.
What? If you're playing different lists, you have 2 different decks.
Sure. It's not rebuild a deck. It's I register 350 rep, 500 or 1500 funding or whatever.
Yeah.
And 20 to 23 cards.
Yeah.
That's my register.
Okay.
And that's what I play with.
What if different characters exist in different decks or different lists?
You're not changing your list.
It's a 2-list format, or if it's a 2-list format.
So a 2-list format. What does your second list look like? How do you build a second list?
You build a boss of
right. You build a list, right?
A sidekick,
and you build a 20 to 23 card deck for that list.
Yeah.
Full stop. Done. There's no changing. There's no screwing around.
In between,
between games, if you choose different lists, then you have to switch up the deck.
You play the deck that goes with that list.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, is you have to change out cards.
I mean, it's just a sideboard.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. That's annoying.
Yeah.
I don't think 2-list is even going to be a thing. So I don't know that I would worry about it.
I would hate that.
We'll find out. We don't know that yet.
Yeah.
So we'll find out. But at the end of the day, if that is the case, I don't mind sideboarding a couple of cards for my second list or whatever. It shouldn't be too much. Honestly, the card count's so low that'll take 2 seconds to do that.
You have the list of what your cards are that go in the list.
Right. You just pull out what cards you have and then put ones in. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't seem overly complicated to me, but I would be surprised if we have a 2-list format. We'll just have to see, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. The game was fine. I don't know what to say about it, I guess. I'm blanking.
Yeah, so I guess some of the questions or concerns I have about third ed, like it feels, one thing I don't like is the cards, and I guess I'm concerned about it. I guess I can't say I don't like it until I've tried it. So,
well, you don't like it.
I don't.
We
I
know
don't like cards.
You're on record as not liking cards.
Yeah, but I'm just curious. Like, it almost feels like you need to have a draw mechanic or a way to shuffle through your deck really fast, because kind of like just during demos and stuff, I don't know, in a 4-turn game, if you get stuck with some cards in your hand that are really hard to score, like the one that gets placed, like place a suspect marker on the back edge of an opponent corner within 4 inches or something like that, and you get stuck with those, I feel like it's really hard if you only have so many cards in hand. You got like some stinkers that don't allow you to score right away. You can be so far down because there's only 4 turns. So if you get a stinker hand, it could literally just lose you a game. Does that make sense?
Well, let's deal with the elephant in the room then, because we're dodging around it, but we've mentioned it a few times. Half of the generic deck is a dud.
Okay.
That's just the fact. Half of it is great. Half of it is dud. So this is why I grabbed the generic deck, so we can go through the cards.
Sweet.
So, I guess I need a mic stand. Oh man, owned.
You want to swap?
Sure.
Gross beard mic.
I know. All up in it.
You got the mustache mic.
I got the mustache.
But you already have a mustache.
I'm mustache Mike.
Yeah.
All right. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 individual or like single use cards in the generic deck, and I believe almost all of these are really good depending on what you're playing. Some of them are generically good. So you've got Catch a Bullet. It scores you 1 VP. If you inflict at least 6 damage of any type with a single ranged attack, that's if you've got get off a good ranged attack, it's
probably
relatively likely to happen. But even if you don't, that's only 1 VP. You get a 0 cost resource that gives you an ammo crate to reload. So a reasonable card to have in your deck.
Sure.
Super easy to just burn it as a 0 cost resource at any time to put down an ammo crate.
Right. So it's a nice card that can shuffle through your deck.
Right.
You
so
can dump it.
Good card out of the generic deck. Could go in anybody's deck and be fine.
If you have guns,
I probably wouldn't put it in my deck if I didn't have guns.
If you're league, you're probably not looking at that guy.
Right. But I mean, it's a card that burns for 0 at any time you want.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
Then you have its counterpart. They Must Know Pain. Again, the score is 1, and it's inflict at least 6 damage of any type with a single melee attack. It's a little harder. Maybe not really. I mean, last night we were doing crap tons of damage.
Yeah, it was all over the place.
So relatively, I guess I'm going to say relatively easy to trigger.
Barely an inconvenience.
This one does. This one does cost a single resource a single resource point to play as a resource. But as a friendly model, can remove up to 2 damage markers during an activation, or choose a knocked out friendly model within 4 inches to automatically recover from knockout. So that's a very powerful resource for a single cost. This will frequently come up. This card is easy to play, easy to use.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Die Hard. This is the one where you play it at the beginning of a turn, and you nominate a model that's not your boss. And if it's not KO or removed as casualty at the end of the round, then you score this objective. So the thing is, you play this in the raise the plan phase at the beginning, and you immediately draw another card. It's like out of your hand as soon as that happens. It also puts down a Wayne Tech marker, so you can for 0 resource. So again, this is another card. Any deck could put this in. Any deck could use it. It's good.
Play it.
This is the one that Colin played last night. I think it's interesting. I think it's fine. So it's 2 VPs. If when an enemy model makes an effort to defend itself against your model's attack, you don't declare an effort for your model. I think this is better in non-stun heavy crews because I'm more inclined to effort to defend myself against blood attacks as opposed to stun attacks. That was in our game last night. Colin kept being like, "You want to effort?" And I was like, I could effort, and then every die I removed from your attack by efforting was actually half successful. So
right, because you're taking that damage.
Because it's stun, so I'm taking half of what he would, Batman would do with a successful hit. So just like the math just doesn't make sense in that matchup.
Yeah. So probably against League, it'd be very good.
But I think somebody like League or Owls or whoever, this would be great. And the other thing is you can play, again, this is a 0 resource card. Place a Venom container in contact with one of your suspect markers. A friendly model in contact with the container during its activation may remove it to gain 1 Venom dose. 0 resource cards burn anytime you want.
Right. I mean, except that a lot of them cost you suspect markers.
You do have to have a suspect marker.
Which is like my situation last night is I had a lot of those cards in my hand, and it was like you'd have to like use up a suspect marker to do it, and I was just like, no, I need all of these.
So it's probably that's probably like one of the detriments for like smaller.
These don't. I mean, for the record, these don't burn up your suspect marker. They just place in contact with your suspect marker. These Wayne Tech, the ammo crate, the med supplies, the Venom dose, it doesn't burn it up. It just puts it in contact with.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is have a suspect marker on the table. And then you can get a container down. So this is, like I said, it's a card that if it's in your hand, you burn it. The ones except for They Must Know Pain for 0 resource. So anytime
it's important. Yeah,
you can burn this. Call an ambulance. This one is a 0 resource medical supply marker. And then the objective is 2 points. Recover at least 2 friendly models from knockout during the same recovery phase. That's like real dicey.
Mm-hmm.
But the nice thing is if you happen to have it in your hand, like you can hold it if you don't need to burn it to try to find something different.
Sure.
But you can just burn this to get a medical supply marker and draw another card. This is one I used last night. I'm feeling weird. It is inflict an effect on an enemy model for the objective, and you score 2 points. Poison somebody, put somebody on fire, whatever.
Yeah,
it's boom, 2 points. I think knockdown might be an effect. I'm not positive, but hypnotize. This is just like it's super easy to fire off and score 2 points. And then it's a 1-cost resource to remove an effect from a friendly model, so also easy to burn. So these cards all totally playable. You can play. Now, a thing to keep in mind is no more than half your deck can be single cards. So you do have to balance that. But we've got Confusion. It's 2-point objective. Reveal 1 enemy suspect marker within 8 inches of an enemy deployment zone. This depends on your scenario. And then it has a relatively expensive resource activation, but it's very good, and you can use it at any time. So it costs 2, but during a friendly's model activation, you can move another friendly model up to 3 inches.
That's good.
So getting this card cycled through, if you're like, nope, in this game, I'm never going to be able to remove an enemy suspect marker within deployment. This is just a card I'm gonna burn. And
that effect is really
good.
The
effect is quite good.
Very good. Like for a gunshot or something like that, you set somebody up, move them behind a truck or something, like, I'm safe from that model. Then you go, boop.
Yep.
I play my trap card.
So the last one of the single shots out of the generic deck is Valuable Commodities. This is the loot card. So unlike the other markers, the loot is the objective, and you replace your suspect marker with a loot marker, and the model that reveals, you have to reveal your suspect marker. So not only does it, like, You don't just get to play it.
You lose a resource.
You lose the activation, the manipulation action of revealing the suspect.
Yeah.
The suspect marker goes away, and you get a loot marker, and that loot marker immediately goes on to your model. But this is a timed one. So anytime this happens, this card goes out of your hand and it waits to be scored until the end of the game. And whoever has the loot at the end of the game scores the 3 VPs for this card. So there are some games where you're not going to want that.
That's pretty swingy.
Yeah. And then there is a 2-cost resource that's discard your plot card, and the objective card behind the plot card is discarded too. So that's also like niche about whether or not you want to.
Yeah.
So this is one card. I did play this last night and scored it. Like I had so many more guys than he did. Was able to run a dog like off to the corner of the field and put down a suspect marker and turn it into loot, and then just drop suspect markers every turn.
Mm-hmm.
So it was good for me in that game. But this one, I think you have to really think about your crew
to have it
to figure out if you want it. But I think all the others, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of them are totally playable. If you have no way in your crew to inflict an effect on an enemy model, maybe you don't play that one.
Yeah.
But that's still like 8 models or 8 card, or what did I say?
7.
Six cards out of the generic deck that are like probably playable by everybody, easy to cycle through and burn.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 is, I mean, you're almost a third of the way to your deck at that point, right?
Yeah.
So then we move on to the stack of multi cards, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. Okay. So we've got stick to the plan. There's 3. All of these are 3s, I think. Yeah, all of them are 3s. Like where you have to take 3 copies of the card. So stick to the plan. It's 2. It scores you 2. You must have more suspect markers than your opponent in play. This, I think, is fine for the vast majority of crews. It's just bad for teams, right? Like it's going to be real difficult to have more suspect markers in play.
Sure.
If you're a team. If you're playing Owls right now, this card may not be the sweetest for you, depending on your Owls build.
It's probably bad.
You can definitely build an Owls team that runs 8 plus models.
Honestly, maybe that's what you need to run.
Maybe that's what you currently need to do.
Yep.
The resource on it is choose a friendly. It costs 1. Choose a friendly henchman within 4 inches of one of your suspect markers. Remove the marker to give that henchman +4 basic move distance until the end of the round.
Ooh.
So that's can be good, but now you're like trying to manipulate where your suspect markers get placed to give like bonuses. So this card, if you have like an average crew of 8 or so models, I think engineering turns where you end up with more suspect markers than your similarly average size crew or below average size crew is not too hard. If you're the Penguin, this is a slam dunk, right? Like you're just gonna like windmill slam this because
Who can I give the +4 movement to? Anybody?
a henchman.
henchman. Okay.
A henchman.
Boo.
It can still matter a lot.
But like, yeah, if you're the Penguin, this is a slam dunk. If you're a big crew, this is a slam dunk. If you're an average crew, I think it's fine. Like I played it. Obviously, I played it into a team last night, so it was super easy to score whenever it came up. But I think this card will require some back and forth in an average game, but it's a perfectly fine card for the majority of crews. Owls, teams, they may have an issue.
Which might... Honestly, I think to a certain degree, we were seeing a lot of teams at the end of second ed, so it might be a transition back to more...
I also just think that they haven't given a lot of thought to teams.
They have not. I think it's hard. Right. And I don't know if they're going to make individual cards for them or not, or if they're going to just be like, utilize what's already existing from like those crews and pull them in based on their affiliation, which it sounds like that's going to be the case, but we'll find out. There's a lot to be determined on them.
Did you have something? It seemed like you might have had something to say.
No.
Okay. The next card is flanking. It is a 2 VP objective. This is the remove a suspect marker within 4 inches of a table corner. This is pretty trash.
Yeah, it's tough.
I think if you play a crew with hidden models or whatever, you can like set up or think about planning for it. But then you like want it in your opening hand and you don't want to draw it later. The resource is relatively easy to burn. It's a 1 cost. A friendly model gains 1 defense die when defending against a melee attack. So that's a fine bonus, and totally worth playing to cycle it. So I guess the question is, do you have like a high mobility crew? Do you have like hidden models or whatever where you can set up where you can score it if it's you? Like I was saying to you before the start of the cast, you essentially get to look at up to 8 cards out of your deck before, like after you know deployment and who you're playing against and what the event card is going to be. So you can maybe like cycle to find this in the early game with the idea you're going to set up like a hidden model over in the corner and just flip it like quickly, and then later on you're just like, well, this is just like an extra defense boost that I use to cycle and try to draw a different card. Like maybe you can play it that way.
In last night's game, I actually played this one and got it on turn 1, where it was I took Goliath and flew Damien over, and because Damien's a detective, he can drop it 3 inches away, so I could be like 7 inches away from the board edge rather than within 4, basically.
And he was within range of Batman, so he got an additional manipulate, so he's able to both drop it,
reveal it,
and then reveal it. Yeah.
I have a random question. I don't want to throw us too much off topic here on the deck. Do you think, and this is probably an overall, something we could talk about at a different time, do you think hidden objectives like that remove like a lot of the consistency and control that happened in earlier second ed in terms of like, I know what will be scored on the field and how to target priority? With this, there can be like curveballs, be like, oh, that changes the math on the defense dice. This is just one example. I'm probably not that big, but I don't know how many cards in the deck affect it. But you get what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like a surprise card. Be like, well, the math changes now, so that model's not knocked out.
I think
does that change consistency?
I think
in the
you
game?
super have to be aware that your opponent might have things when you're doing your calculations.
Sure.
Like it's not all available on the table. But I also don't feel like 1 defense die is like like none of the ones that I've seen thus far seem like a big enough swing to like really drastically alter things.
That's one thing I would really hope there isn't like one particular card that's so crazy like that, where you can have a nice plan and coordinate and just be like, it all goes to shit. Any control that was there, it just makes, and maybe the game, they want to make it more casual, but there's a lot less control in terms of like what happens in games and having good plans and strategies, if that makes sense.
Sure. So this one I think is a little trashy, but there are things that can make it stronger. The detective ability definitely makes it stronger. Having scheming, where you can then move a marker over to the corner and get somebody to get to it later, that can make it better. So you can have some like niche abilities that make this better. But this one, I think you might score it once, and the rest of the time you're just using it as a resource, which is fine. And it's a way to draw, but it definitely doesn't excite me.
Okay.
Then we have Disturbance. This is another 2-point score. It's reveal an enemy suspect marker. After revealing it, you must have more suspect markers than your opponent to score this card. So this requires 2 things, but if you have one, a lot of times you'll have the other. So the first thing it requires is that your opponent is dropping suspect markers.
Right.
You know, Colin dropped 3, maybe, suspect markers in total. Yeah, maybe. I think it was 3 because I revealed 1, and you had 2 at the end of the game on the table. So Colin dropped 3 in total throughout.
4, I revealed 1 myself, but...
Oh, right. Okay, so 4 in total throughout the game. So anything that requires you to reveal enemy suspect markers does require them to be dropped. Now, it's possible that as we play this game more, that it turns out that, last night's an aberration and Colin will be dropping more. Maybe he's going to play a Gaslight Batman list that will enable more like suspect markers.
Like Bat Family actually doesn't struggle with dropping them. Jason Todd is like one of the best models in the game at dropping suspect markers.
Sure. You just didn't necessarily have.
He's
that
just maybe an auto include.
Sure.
Like.
And then if they're dropping enemy suspect markers, you have to have more than them to score. So like against Colin last night, I certainly could have scored this if it was in my deck. Against like an average opponent where people are dropping like 2 or 3 markers a turn on both sides, like, again, you can probably manufacture this. It's kind of like the first one we talked about, the stick to the plan, manufacturing more. It just requires an additional hoop. Not only do you have to have more, but you then need to reveal an enemy suspect marker as well throughout the turn. But I don't know. It doesn't feel like an impossibility. And it is a 0 resource activation. It's during a friendly activation, target a sewer model. That marker cannot be used this round. Not super impactful, probably, but it is a way. I mean, a 0 resource card essentially says, cycle me on a model's activation.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't disagree.
So
it seems interesting. Did you leave it out based on an opponent having to do something to meet a requirement?
Because I was playing the Joker, I definitely didn't need to load up. I ended up playing a lot of the single shot cards from the generic deck.
Yeah.
I played an almost 50-50 Joker generic deck last night.
Okay.
It was 11.
But you played the good cards that you thought were good.
The things that I thought were good.
Okay.
Yeah, that we're talking about.
Do you get what I'm saying, though, in terms of like maybe you don't put those in your deck because it's based on a requirement that your opponent has to do something?
100%.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with that. And that's why I said like half of the generic deck is kind of trash. And it's not necessarily that any specific card is totally unplayable garbage.
Yeah.
But you might notice there's like kind of a few themes here that we're talking about, like have more suspect markers or have a suspect marker over in a certain place and reveal it or what. Like there's a couple different like things, but it's not directing you to like a single path or strategy or like play style. Whereas the Joker deck I played last night very much was like just kind of the way I was playing generated opportunities for me regardless of what cards were in my hand.
And that, in particular, what you just said, gives me hope for the game.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, that's what needs to happen with decks to make the game immersive and fun like it was before.
Sure.
Like if it's random, go to a corner and random this, I feel like, okay, well, I'm just dropping willy-nillys and, like, I'm dropping my change on the ground, and it doesn't feel like it was before.
We'll go through the last 2 cards. There's just 2 more. These are both 1 VP scorecards. So Dirty Job is make an enemy model KO or a casualty, score a point. This is gonna happen in the game. It's like an easy, quick score. You get a 1 resource. A friendly model adds 1 die to a melee attack. That model suffers a blood.
Okay.
So
that's good.
It's fine. This is like
killing crews and stuff seem okay with it.
This is 100% the definition of like a filler card. So when you need to bulk out your deck because you don't have everything, this is a card that like no matter when it comes up, it will like be relevant if you're not the Riddler. So, yeah.
I mean, it feels like auto include for like really killy crews
for sure. Particularly now, it's definitely one that I'd be looking at. I'm sure Colin probably had 3 of these in the Dirty Job.
I think so.
So Colin misbuilt his deck too last night. We didn't realize the rules. I mean, we made several mistakes, which we can talk about too. But in it, he thought he could only take 6 cards in total from an affiliated crew. But it's actually for every model in your list, you can take 6 cards from an affiliated crew.
Yeah, so you can fill up. You have, when you're playing Bat Family, you have the whole Batman deck.
Batman deck if you want. Or with your list last night, you literally could have been 50-50 Batman League.
Yeah.
Like cards if you wanted to.
Yep.
So anyway, Dirty Job is like an easy include, just part of the game. It'll come up. It is never going to score you a lot of points. It's only 1 point. But, it's there.
Yeah. If you score 3 of them, it's worth it.
Yeah. Stake Your Claim is the last one. Appears to have the penguin on it. It's 1 VP. Place a suspect marker within an enemy deployment zone. And then target a friendly suspect for 0 resource. Target a friendly suspect marker. A model that reveals that marker this round suffers the enervating 2 effect. So, like, doesn't seem like they're ever going to go reveal it if it matters.
Right.
But again, it's a zero resource. So the thing that I just want to keep emphasizing is these zero resource cards are
shufflers,
are cyclers. They literally just cycle to the next. And for those who haven't played Magic, it means you discard them and draw a new card off the top of your deck.
I feel like that even incentivizes bigger crews more as well, because it gives you more chances at cycles per activation.
Yeah, for sure.
That's another thing to keep in mind.
I think the key here, so the generic deck is, it's not that any particular card I think is like bad. It's that there's no overarching scheme. It's just kind of like, maybe you should have a guy over in the corner, or like near your opponent's deployment zone, so you can put some suspect markers there. But like maybe you won't draw those. You'll draw like multiples of these others, and you'll like want to have more suspect markers in general and be revealing your opponent's suspect like it just, there's no super coherent plan. It's all like pretty suspect marker based.
It actually just, in how you describe how you view the general deck, it makes me think that what they have in mind is that it'll mix well with crews that are coming out.
I 100% think that they think that, because that was definitely, as I looked through it to build the Joker deck that I played last night, I was just like, when I looked through the Joker deck, I was like, this card doesn't seem great, or it seems like it would be way better for like a different Joker crew than the one that I've got built.
Yeah.
Or like I don't have enough models that have like gas attacks to like want this card. Like I really just have one or two. So this is fine, but this one will be like a lot harder to meet. So I didn't want to include those. So I was like, well, I'm going to try the generic deck. And as I looked through the generic deck, I was definitely just like these, 7 cards like fit my plan really well. So then I just need to find like 2 other cards to add to the deck. I ended up playing 11 Joker cards, 9 generic cards, and the Joker's unique Showtime card. Last night was my deck.
Okay.
And Colin can attest, once I got rolling, it was just kind of like, now I do this and I score.
I think
now
the
I do
third
this and I
turn.
score. And now I do this and I score.
At the end?
So we didn't fully play the 4th turn, but I'd scored 21 points.
That's a lot.
Yeah. On turn 3, I think you scored almost every activation.
It was almost every single activation I scored on turn 3. So I think building your deck is important. Thinking about your crew and like what you have in the deck is important.
Do you think, in terms of, here's another worry of mine. So, like, in terms of, it's going to be super important what cards you get and how, like, well they actually are designed for that crew.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like and I'm a little bit worried / not worried, because the Joker one seemed like they're working out very well.
Mm-hmm.
But
we can also talk about the Batman card Colin had in his deck, which is crazy good.
Sure. I think there's going to be some outliers, but like I am worried that like you get a crew and like your objectives are just really hard to do, and like just like your cards could just drag your crew down, if that makes sense. If they're just not great,
your cards can drag your crew down.
Yeah,
maybe. Like I said, I think it's important, and something we didn't do last night. Like I think maybe we played actual resource objective card as a resource like 2 times in the game.
I don't think I ever did.
And so like that's looking at these like 0 cost ones and just being like, I don't have anything to do like with the cards in my hand on this turn. Get rid of it. Draw something else.
Yeah,
and I mean,
I was always like waiting for the perfect situation.
Right.
And sometimes you just have to realize the perfect situation doesn't come up, so just use it.
Right. I think in a 4-turn game, it's just use it.
Use it.
Just like with ammo, just use it. With cards, just use it.
The big thing is like the Titan Dose was the one I was always like, I'm going to use this one. And then I end up never doing it, or I didn't do it. But it does say it like puts down a Titan Dose like the old objective.
Yes. Yeah.
And then a friendly model can manipulate it. So your enemies can't like manipulate it to get a Titan Dose. And so for some reason I was like, I mean, I read that, but I was still fearful of me dropping it.
You would drop it, and I would go get on Venom.
I don't know. For some reason, I was just like not willing to do it.
It's a new game. Like, I mean, at no point during the game last night did I think about let's cycle through cards with the resources. But like then after I went home last night and I was thinking about it, I was just like, oh, well, like a lot of these are 0.
You said home really weird. You're like, I'm going to go ham.
I'm going to go ham.
Well,
I'm going to go ham and think about cards.
Every time I like thought about using something for a resource, I was like, but what if I score that card?
Right. But
Like-
the next card will also give you a chance to score. And
that
the
is
next
true.
one too, and the next one too, and the next one too.
So that keeps
It's
bringing me
just
back to my
weird.
point is like, it almost incentivizes you to play bigger crews or like medium-sized crews because I get very worried if that's the case and it's super important to kind of shuffle through.
I believe that bigger crews are advantaged.
I think even smaller crews will have ways to get through their deck.
Yeah, I agree.
Like we were talking about oh my god, Gaslight Batman has his Truth Seeker ability changed to like it helps him get through his deck.
Right.
Yeah, and
You can take Searcher so that way your opponent can't use their cards as
They
resources.
cut down their resource use.
here's my worry. I don't want you as like a Bat family player to be pigeonholed into having to play him to shuffle through your deck. If
I
that
don't
makes
think you are the
I'm also not 100% convinced that in the long term, being able to like see all the cards in your deck within 2 turns or like 3 turns is going to be a very important thing.
sense. Okay.
Like I said, by the time I got to the 3rd turn last night, it was just kind of like every card was hitting, like they all worked. And I think you can I think anybody that has access to Batman, Joker, or League cards right now is going to be able to build a deck like that. The people who are going to be disadvantaged are the ones who have to play with the generic deck.
But remember, if they don't have their deck yet, everyone has to play with generics.
No, that's just like a
that's
rumor that we heard,
yeah.
but there definitely is no like written rule to that effect.
Yikes! So pretty much, if you don't have your deck, you're at a huge
I mean, we
disadvantage.
don't have tournament rules.
That's right. Standard. I think they're working on that stuff.
Sure,
Yeah.
but there are no tournament rules for this game yet.
Yeah.
So that's an important thing to consider
that's
before we get too worried about
Yep.
things.
Yep.
How big is the Joker deck?
So currently all 3 factions have 20 cards, I think, which includes, I know Batman and Jokers are 20 cards,
Okay.
but they include, that 20 cards includes 3 special character cards. So the Joker's deck came with a Deadshot card, a Harley card, and Joker's card. And Batman came with Harvey Bullock and Gordon and Batman. So it's 17 cards that can be played regardless
For the crew.
For the crew.
Yeah. I was using the formula of the way the general cards are made. You've got the singles that seem like they can just kind of go into everything.
Yeah.
And then you've got sort of variable use big cards. Then you can mix that up with your faction deck. Like it gives you a lot of, just as soon as you get your deck, you can tailor your...
As soon as you get the deck, I think you can build probably several different types of decks around your... Like, I think I could go and build a crew for the cards that I didn't play out of the Joker deck last night.
So, I mean, it sounds like Knight's kind of in a tough spot because it's like they need to make crew decks unique and immersive, but also make sure that they're like quality and good for each one.
Also, knowing how they work now, I got to really go back and look at the traits. There's a lot of traits that fudge with the
Yeah.
things, not just Searcher.
Like
right.
Veteran and stuff too does like, I know things like related to scoring points, but like also my second point of like the Knights kind of in a pickle is because like crews need their decks out immediately. So they have this weird balance where like crews want to get their decks out so they can be playable and be viable, but also it's like it's really important on them taking their time to make sure that they're good.
Yeah.
And they make sense for that crew.
So I wouldn't mind. Maybe I'll try playing a different crew than the Joker and play with just the generic deck and see how it goes. Like as
Riddler.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I can try it.
Interesting OC. I want to play OCs actually when I want to.
I mean, the problem is if we do a battle report, we're gonna have to be painted, Josh.
Yeah, it's rough for me. But
Yeah, we're gonna have to play Riddler.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yep.
Well, guess it's Riddler.
Yeah.
We're going to see if he's as unplayable as I think he is without a deck.
Probably. We're going to have to record that. Your first game with Riddler is going to have to be recorded.
I feel like this is a setup.
Because he specifically has a rule that's like, search
family.
your deck for a riddle card. And like,
Ah.
sounds a lot like Gaggy, who does not work.
I got Raven. She can't actually even use spells.
Ooh.
It's true.
Yeah.
See, everyone's hamstrung.
So hamstrung.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But so Gaggy, do you want to talk about him?
Sure. So this is an example. So 2 examples from last night's game that were already, us
1 hour and 10 minutes.
that were just us being like, oh man, night models. Come on.
Yeah.
So the first one is in the book, the objective cards that the type of objective card that has like the little triangular hazard symbol with the exclamation point are called
They're violence?
no, it's violence protecting it's like now I can't remember the name of it. All I can think about is what they're called on the plot cards. On the plot cards it tells you to complete a menace objective. But that's not what they're called in the rule book. They're called something different in the rule book. And you can only figure that out by process of elimination because the plot cards call the other 3 objective types by the name that they are in the rule book.
Nice.
But
very, very eloquent, not confusing.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of a snafu. A little like translation misprint or whatever.
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, we figured it out. It's not that hard. It's just like, an eye roll moment. And then we go to play Gaggy. And I was like, well, I'm pretty sure he's terrible because of only 1 special a turn. But whatever. I'm going to put him on the table and just play
Try
him.
him out.
Yeah.
Because I want to try a variety of things. So like the list I played was Beach Costume Joker, Killing Joke Joker. And then I played Gaggy. And I had Bud and Lou and Joker Biker #1, the one with the Uzi. I had Panda Man because I want to try some good guns and see how that went. And then I had Ace of Spades and Dynamite. I think that was the list.
Yeah.
And you played?
I played Baleman, which is Christian Bale Batman, 90-point Nightwing, Damien, and Goliath.
Man, Christian Bale Batman. So this is a tangent away from the Gaggy topic, which we'll get back to here in just a second. But the card I alluded to is called Get 'em Off the Streets in the Batman deck. And it is a 3 VP objective, of which there's 3 copies. And it's arrest a model, score 3 VPs.
What?
And,
That seems insane.
And
so the second part.
And the resource is 1 cost resource.
2 costs.
Oh, 2 cost resource, but counter a resource your opponent plays. That card
is nuts.
Is a nutso.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like that's actually terrifying because I don't want to. We don't need a knee-jerk reaction to this, but it's like,
well, there's only 3 of them.
That's. But they're 3 3-pointers, and it's like stuff that's gonna that's what Batman wants to do anyways.
Yeah.
So it's like, holy cow.
He should be able to score those twice. I mean, I actually think for a regular Batman crew, that one's harder. The cops arresting people is actually harder because you can deal with the cops easier than you can deal with Baleman running around arresting people because he's doing it all in 1 activation.
Yeah.
The cops probably aren't doing it in 1 activation. Right. So, and you can, in teams, I can put handcuffs on guys that are doing the same thing as Baleman. So that card, I think, is
super good.
Better in teams probably than even in Batman itself.
It was crazy good. Colin, you just back to back to me. Turn 2, and turn 3.
No, it was just.
Oh yeah, it was just back to back turn 2. It was just up 3 points, up 6 points, and I was just like, "What the f?"
Yeah. I mean, that's 6 points is massive.
Well,
sadly, I mean, I actually probably just made a mistake because knowing how easy that card was for me to score, I should have picked a plot based on me scoring that type of card, which was
100%.
protection.
Yeah, probably protection.
And instead I took, I think, violence.
You took the same one I did.
Yeah, I couldn't, or no, it wasn't violence.
It was violence.
Okay.
No, it was menace. which is not actually Menace. It's whatever the book calls it.
Yeah, that plot was pretty hard for me to do because I needed to have more. I needed to have more suspect markers out than my opponent had models.
Yeah,
which in play. Sorry, models in play. So I needed to actually delete, like probably half of his crew before I even had a chance.
Yeah.
So that one was a mistake.
Yeah,
but it was the best. It was the one that I would have wanted to complete it first because it got me an extra attack dice every round. So if I can complete that early, then I'm looking good the rest of the game.
The name of this plot is Shock and Awe because it's also the one that I took, and I did complete it.
Yeah, really early.
And it was real good.
It was really good. His henchman, their 20 points was basically one shot a 70-point model with 10 endurance. That was fun.
Yeah, Butterloo, whichever one's the 4 attack, I always forget.
Also, it was like, not only was it basically killed a 10-point model, but he was doing it with blood stun.
I did.
Not just like double blood. Double blood would make kind of sense.
Would have murdered him.
Yeah.
I just hit 9 dice with Butterloo on Goliath, basically. Just like came roaring in 12 inches.
Defense 2 seems really bad.
9 diced him. Yeah, I didn't play Borgin for a reason.
Yeah.
This is like defense 2 seems such trash.
Goliath is very good.
Goliath, I think, is actually really good. He almost one-shot Joker by himself.
Okay.
So he gets 2 free efforts. We were misplaying efforts in that game. We thought that you could only effort up to 3 times a round per model, but it's per activation. So Goliath gets 2 free efforts every turn, or every activation, effectively. So
I will say, I think if you do stun damage, as Bat Family does, and can easily pick up somebody that you knock out and get them off the table, as Bat Family can, it's really gross. It's really powerful in this edition.
Yeah.
That like combination is extremely powerful because you essentially totally shut down your ability to effort to help defend yourself. Like I talked about earlier, the math just doesn't work out. Like when you're like, I'll take a stun to reduce your chances of causing me to stun.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It's also just like weird, like combo. There was one time I attacked with Nightwing into, I don't remember who I attacked into, but
it was Ace of Spades, I think.
No, I rolled max dice on this one.
I thought that was Ace of Spades.
I think it was the bodyguard.
Okay, bus driver. Oh yeah, I forgot he was on the list too.
So I attacked the bodyguard, and I just said, I was, at this point, I had given up on the game. And I just said, screw it, I'm just going to effort maximum, which I don't even know how many. But I ended up getting like 9 successes, which is just like, oh, this actually just like one-shots anyone.
Yeah. There's not a lot you can do about that.
Like, well, yeah, it's just so weird. Dice are just so weird.
Combat is extremely brutal in this game.
Yeah.
Extremely brutal, which is fine because there's only 4 turns. We didn't even get to play one of the turns as far as like hurting each other and like it's.
You let me attack Joker, and then we called it.
I mean, first turn we didn't get to attack each other because of the deployment.
We also started in base to base with each other.
That's true.
We were kind of talking after the game of whether the deployment of starting like so close, like the deployments being right next to each other, who that actually helped or hurt. Because it's like a little weird because Bat Family's threat range is the table. Like Nightwing's is like 23 inches.
21. It was 21, I think.
Damien, I think, is like 36 or something like that with Goliath. And Batman is something ridiculous too.
Yeah, he's like the slowpoke.
He's 21, I think.
I think he's also 21.
So like the threat ranges are ridiculous. So all I have to do, like, it was definitely a bonus to be able to get to Josh's guns really easily, but I never had to use my bat claws almost the entirety of the game. I just walked right into everybody.
You used them on the first turn because I deployed like in the back line and backed up.
Yeah, I mean I used it on the first turn, but I used it to get an extra 3 inches, I think, with Nightwing, and that was it.
Sure.
Which if I could have. If I remembered at the time of deployment, I wouldn't have actually needed to. I would have just started on the ground and then I would just walk to you.
Right.
Because I only needed it because I needed to actually get down from the rooftop that I started on, because it's actually kind of bad to be on rooftops now. So if you fall, as far as I understand, you'll just end your activation, regardless if you have back cape or acrobat or any of that.
It's
or end
not
your
that.
movement.
It's not even that. It's if you had a bat cape, bat capes don't give you like a free elevator down that doesn't cost movement anymore. So you don't take damage, but the trip down eats up your movement. So if you had 16 inches of movement or whatever, and the rooftop was 10 inches up, you'd still be able to move 6 inches once you hit the ground.
Yeah. But yeah, so since I decided I was just going to go right to him, I just backlawed over, because once I got to him, no one was going to get away from me. So
yeah, definitely true. Panda Man and Uzi Biker were knocked out and arrested without firing a shot and gave up 6 VPs.
Yep. That did happen.
I definitely felt on the ropes by the end of turn 2, but we came back.
Yep.
Middle-ish of turn 2.
Yep. Yeah, it was but we talked, what we were talking about at the end of the game was whether it was an advantage for me to actually get that or not, just because it put me in super danger zone for everybody, and on turn 2 everyone was just in the danger zone, whereas theoretically I could be in spots, because my threat range is so long, I could be behind buildings in spots where I'm pretty safe, and then just get out there when I need to. So it's it's a little, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It was a weird scenario though, or deployment, I guess.
Yeah,
it's fun to think about though.
It is. So to loop back to Gaggy, where we dropped him, where he belongs, in the trash.
Yeah,
he's basically Beastman Redux, right? Or Beast Boy Redux right now.
What was the thing we used to do? The segment.
Lazarus Pit.
The Lazarus Pit.
He definitely needs to be dunked in there
again,
until his rules actually work.
Wait,
they don't work.
Was he actually we dunked him in, but we found he was
wrong.
actually good.
He was
right.
okay.
Yeah,
we were wrong.
Better than okay. It's pretty solid. Particularly once Bus Driver got released.
Let's hope we're wrong again, but I don't think we are. Go for it, Josh.
Well, so the rules just don't work. So Gaggy's weapon is 1 inch and explosive and caustic.
Yeah, because he has reach, and reach is now 1 inch instead of 2.
But they didn't change the template, so it's not possible for him not to hit himself with his own attack.
Darn it.
However, it is possible if he gas jumpers first, because that increases his attack to 3 inches.
Huh.
So then you're if this works if the attack works the way that it used to in the rules, then I guess that's like a backdoor. You just always have to gas jumper if you want to attack and not hit yourself. So, okay. Also, gas jumper changed slightly where it says everyone in his line of sight gets affected, within 4 inches in line of sight gets affected by Innervate 1 and gets a poison counter. But we're not sure with this new line of sight if a model has line of sight to itself. So I don't know if Gaggy hurts himself or not with gas jumper.
All I'm saying is, Josh, I can see myself. See, look at that. I just saw my
for sure.
hand.
I agree. I just don't know I don't know what the intent is.
I hope not.
Yeah.
It's not clear whether he sees himself.
I think that was dumb when
with the rules.
Scarecrow and Gaggy and stuff hit themselves.
Gas themselves.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, so that's not even the place where it's broken. The place where it's broken is regardless, he attacks. The template is 4 inches and it's explosive. So you have to go to the explosive rules. And the explosive rules are only written for ranged explosives, but it doesn't say ranged. It just says explosive template. So you have to apply these rules to Gaggy. And the rules say, place the template completely within line of sight and range. So it has to be completely within 1 inch of Gaggy. The whole 4 inch template has to be completely within 1 inch of Gaggy and line of sight. So it's going to cover him and go over his base and onto something else behind him maybe or whatever, and barely clip the model that's in front of him. Just barely. It'll just barely touch the model that he's trying to hit at. And then then you roll just a strength dice. So I guess it doesn't matter what his melee attack is. You just roll a strength die. And if it's successful, then the model will be affected by the template, which in this case is 1 blood. But if it's not successful, the model it's caustic, so you still take 1 blood if the strength dice is failed. So the way the rules are written, you must place the explosive template entirely within either 1 inch or 3 inches of Gaggy, and then everything under it just takes a blood. And that's his whole attack. That's his melee attack.
Nice. Pretty good.
Yeah. So I really hope that's not what Night Model's intended for him to do, but if they did, I am immediately chucking him into the garbage.
I guarantee it will change.
I mean, I hope he does.
I guarantee it.
I hope that they change 1 or 2 of his special rules to be an effort activation too. He's a model that just does not work in 3rd edition, but particularly does not work because the rules don't work the way they're written.
Yeah.
I think we're going to find a couple of those
for sure
here and there.
For sure.
And it's going to be now that they have a presence on the Discord and stuff, I think that's great because we can kind of let them know those things. And now that we have someone that is responsive and can listen and hear things, that will go a long way. And hopefully we'll see FAQs to fix those models like that just don't work at all.
For sure.
But yeah, that's disappointing.
Yeah. So he's gonna, which sucks because when I got the model and put it together, and I was just like, this is actually a super sweet model. And then he was playing really well in 2nd ed, and I was super geeked about Gaggy.
Dude, he was a roller coaster.
He is. He's playing with my emotions.
He was junk trashed here in the Lazarus pit. Yeah. Then we I don't know how we got you to play him.
Adam Russell.
I think Adam picked Gaggy as a model that I had to play in one of those.
But I think if we go way back, I said he was okay.
You probably did.
Yes. And then he was good. Good.
It was great.
Great. Yeah, very solid.
He was slaughtering henchmen in droves.
He was basically just Colin Rage Machine.
I don't know what that means.
It means I raged out when playing against Gaggy.
Oh, okay.
And I killed Gaggy immediately.
That's true. That did.
And then the bus driver made him even better.
And
now he back down.
Now he's back to unplayable trash. So really riding that Gaggy roller coaster. Whew. That's what it's like to have True Love Joker.
But he wins every fight he's in.
What? Oh, yeah. With when he gets in a fight with Joker.
When he gets in a fight, yeah. With Joker.
Oh, boy. Okay.
So, yeah. My overall impressions of the game after playing it is that I actually do really enjoy the mechanics of the game. It gets me intrigued for deck building and list building. Now I'm thinking about list building again. That's sweet. Colin sent a list over today where he was just he was kind of sad last night playing with the cards and feeling like he couldn't do anything. But I think with a little time and some fresh perspective, he's oh.
Well, Stefan saying that I could take more just
cards
6
also
cards made
helps.
me super.
Yeah.
So thank you, Stefan. Huge shout out to you.
So Colin's in on list building. So we're definitely excited.
There's
the game.
Actually just a lot of stuff that's actually super. The decks are actually really cool. Even the league decks are just actually really I think they'll mix in with league really well.
Mm.
And they actually mix in with Titans and Bat Family really well too. So that's cool.
Uh-huh.
It turns out they're all about damage and stuff like that and weird suspect shenanigans, which you need.
One thing I will say is it's frustrating not to have access to the card without printing them. I really wish I could just buy the cards straight out.
You're going to. They're selling them.
Oh, they actually are?
Yeah.
Now?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a league thing you can buy.
Yeah, but you can literally just buy the cards.
But does that give me the generic deck as well?
That I don't know the answer.
That's my
not,
point.
no.
Is I want to be able to have access to buy the generic deck.
I believe the intent is for you to be able to do that.
Okay. I think that's
they're not going to make it only available in this box.
Okay.
Or
I hope.
I'm pretty sure they're running. Because they said they're running limited card packs.
At this point, I can't play the game unless I have the box.
Well, you can. You can download and print the cards.
I get it, but it's super jank.
Sure.
I would like to have the cards.
Yeah.
Well, it's super weird because if you do end up getting a league box or a league pack to use your old league model or their deck or whatever,
yeah,
and you had already previously you have to play those cards with the printed cards They have like probably like a magic card in the back of the cards. Now they're a different thickness and they won't shuffle correctly, and they all just need to be the same card. Otherwise, like it'll pile shuffle in a way that is not good.
I would be really surprised if they print all the decks as individual card packs except for the generic one. That would be very stunning to me.
That'd be weird.
And I'm pretty over being like shocked by night models, but that would shock me.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said before, at least we'll have an outlet to have good communication in an intelligent way, and we know someone can receive that information and take it up the chain. So at least there's that. I think that's been my biggest frustration is I want to play the game really bad. Our stuff got delayed super long to not let us be able to play it, and then having the cards is the biggest thing.
Let's just be fair. We were too lazy to print off the cards. That's
Yeah, but I don't want to have to do that.
Yeah.
I want to be able, if the game's coming out and there's cards, I want to just have the cards and then be able to play it, right?
Yeah, but I don't want it to make it seem like it's like a bad thing that we had to print off the cards, because it's only a good thing that they're available online.
Sure, yeah.
So I just want to make sure everyone understands that.
Yeah, for sure. That's 100% true.
It's just that we are lazy.
Yeah, it just comes down to like buying a product, right?
Yeah.
When I buy that product and they already have it, like
it's nicer to have those nice cards that they came in this box.
Yeah, we want to support night
printed.
models, not Kinko's.
yeah, boom.
And they cost the same. They're probably more expensive at Kinko's than they are whatever Night produces.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's just like I'm a person that wants to have like from the company or like the original thing when I play games and hobby and things like that. So, and it might be just a me thing overall, but I feel like, I mean,
there's a lot of people that are holding off playing because they need cards.
Which stinks.
So, yeah.
But
it'll happen. We'll have cards someday. Everybody
It's
will.
coming. It is. We've already waited for a while, so wait a little longer.
No,
well, I
either
don't
that
have to.
or just play. Yeah,
I'm playing Bat Family now.
either that or
I'm
just
stealing Josh's cards.
Yeah, that's up to steal some of your guys' cards and then buy the league thing and play league plus your guys' cards.
Yep.
The other thing that they can do is as opposed to waiting till December for some crews to get their decks,
Yeah,
they can just release the decks early, but then give them like a code like CB17 or something. And that gives them the ability to, when they come out with the crew and make a new deck, they could be like CB17 is discontinued or whatever. They can like ban certain cards.
Sure.
Based on that.
I don't think they're going to do that.
No, but
you're 100% right. They could. Yeah.
Yeah, they could easily just have like a little system so that they can give us something to play with now, and there might even be some hiccups and some oopsie daisies, but then they can fix them.
so you can play all the crews that are out there. You mean?
Yeah. So everybody's got a cool thing to do.
That's fair.
I mean, I do hope there's like more generic cards in the future, actually. I hope this isn't just all the generic cards forever.
So that is another thing they could do to like fix the nature of the generic deck not having a focus, is if they just printed an additional like 30 generic cards that like gave this aspect a few more cards and that aspect a few more cards or whatever. It could help help you craft a generic deck that like dictated a style of play.
So like those of you out there that have played Aristea, how that game works is they actually use a deck of cards and you build it actually every round, and it's based off characters that you take, blah blah blah. But what they just did recently is that they have every deck you build always had to have 10 standard cards, and it was always the same 10 standard cards for the last year or 2 years or whatever, however long it's been. Recently, they released 2 different standard decks that you could put in your that you could choose instead of the original standard deck. So now you have these super variety decks that just came out that are good. I don't know. We're trying to determine whether they're better than the original standard deck, but like it actually seems like the power level's still kind of there on all of it. But that just adds a whole different variety. So they could actually come out with a deck that is just like the old standard or the old general deck can't actually mix with this. So you can't like
general deck 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, general deck 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
That one can only be used with other General Deck 1 cards if you want to use General Deck 1. If they come out with General Deck 2, you can only use General Deck 2 cards. plus your crew cards or whatever.
And they could do like call them based on like storylines, like the Dark Knight Returns deck,
that'd be
the
really
the longest night deck, the
Long Halloween,
Long Halloween, or whatever, the Batman Return, or whatever, the like all the different like big storylines, whatever. They could
that'd be really sweet.
Call the general decks that, and then you just play half of that plus your crew, and then and that's also kind of fun because then it's like, how does your crew interact with this slice of sort of comic history? Like you've got the longest Halloween, and then I'm playing Penguin, so he like inserts in there a lot of those big plots. Have a little bit of inclusion of all those guys, so it's like it's a place for them to go. But then as soon as they have more general decks, that solves a lot of people's problems. It's like, oh, this one's for me.
Yeah,
but it's a way they can always keep on expanding the game too, which is sweet when they can do it without more models, which model bloat is like always a problem. So
I think right now they're envisioning that individual character cards, because some characters will also come with plot cards, apparently. I don't know that anybody of them have yet, but they reference it in the rules for plot cards, is like that some characters will have a character plot card. So
probably just huge big dick ones will have plot cards,
I would have guessed Roz would have a plot card if anybody's going to have a plot card.
Well, is he free agent or
no? He's a leader,
but he could still have a leader. It's also interesting, something I didn't realize until I was reading through the rules for this game. Those individual character cards also have a rank icon on them. So like Harley's has a sidekick icon, and you can only use the card if they have the name and also that rank. So, like, free agent Harley cannot use the Harley. Like, if that's who you have, she can't use the Harley card.
I like that.
Came with the set, which is interesting. I don't know how often it's gonna matter. Most models retain their rank across their various iterations.
I mean, Deathstroke could be hilarious if they has he can't use his card if he's a sidekick or something.
Yeah,
that'd be dumb.
Or he can only use it if he's a sidekick.
Right.
That makes more sense.
I mean, sure. Or he can come with two cards that are different, whether he's a free agent or a sidekick.
That'd be cool.
What are some cool opportunities to introduce new plot cards? Like, which characters would be fun to have? Like, I was thinking, like...
Scarecrow.
It's like the people with side plots, I think. The ones that are always schemers.
Reverse Flash would be cool.
I mean, the Penguin could totally have a plot card for sure.
Roz easily could.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually thinking of, like, free agents.
Yeah, I'm thinking of free agents who introduce weird... Because, like, they're so...
Hatter.
Yeah.
Probably your boy, Captain
Solid
Cold.
Grundy? Oh, Captain Cold for sure. Yeah.
I feel Deathstroke could have his own plot card. I mean, he's a sidekick too, but like he's like some of the bigger characters.
Commander Kite or whatever, Kite Man.
Commander Kite.
Kite Man would be awesome.
His plot card is just hook up with Ivy.
Yeah.
Remove Ivy from the table. Cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Kite Man could have a rule where if you take him with Batman, then Batman can do blood damage. Would be sweet.
Yeah.
Or if Kite Man died, Batman... Like, Kite Man should be able to join Bat Family, and then if he dies, the Bat Family can then do blood damage. It gets rid of the...
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
I do want to know who the Batman on the art for the event card Heavy Rain is, because it's Batman with just a Glock. He's just holding a Glock in his hand.
That's current Batman. He's like he's glockenspieling all the time. Yeah. Also, there's one with like Thomas Wayne's back too. Thomas Wayne just hangs out with Batman.
It's definitely not Thomas Wayne.
Yeah,
make sure, but yeah,
I can't tell in the current version with Thomas Wayne. I cannot tell him apart from Batman. It's two Batman.
You've done like a deep dive currently into the...
Yeah, I've been watching all those comic videos, so I've been yeah, Batman's definitely running around with gats and doing weird stuff, but he's still non-lethal.
Right,
he's not lethal,
just shooting out kneecaps and whatnot.
He's like, it's like the Peter Griffin episode in The Family Guy where he's using it to like change the TV and stuff. He's found other reasons. It is a tool. It's actually not a weapon.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Colin, any other thoughts on our first game that we haven't?
No,
covered?
I think it's just I'm excited to play some more.
Yeah, me too.
Do some experimenting.
I was actually legit surprised how excited I was getting to play the game yesterday when we were like setting it up. I was like, it's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was excited for the first couple turns.
Yeah. It was
And then that turn 3.
we ended turn 2 in a dead heat, like essentially a dead heat. I think I was like up 8-6, but Colin still had 1 2-point objective trapped under his plot card that he needed to finish the plot to get out. So we were essentially in a dead heat at the end of 2.
And then Josh scored 13 points in 1 turn.
Something like that, yeah.
That seems pretty crazy.
It was just, I think he's not wrong. It was nearly every single activation I scored.
Yeah. That was with me knocking guys out.
Yeah.
Before they got to activate.
Oh.
He'd like knock a guy out, and I'd be like, well, I'll activate this guy and score.
Yep.
Interesting.
And then I was like, I knocked a guy out with Nightwing. I was like, yeah, I'll score this card. Oh, no, I won't. And then you were like, I'll attack Nightwing. I'll actually, or, it was Nightwing attacked somebody, and you chose to effort, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna score my card. And then you're like, no, I chose him for the you can't play cards during his activation. And I'm like, oh, sweet, I don't get to score. None, never mind. So I had to sadly pick that card back up.
Mm-hmm. It was an awkward moment for all of us.
Yeah, that
it was the beginning.
The encounter cards
of the rage tilt.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the encounter cards. Some of them really throw in a big.
I mean, we played what's probably literally the worst one for Bat Family.
For teams.
Specifically Bat Family.
Yeah, it is specifically Bat Family. It's like the other teams, like Titans, I don't think will care. They're playing 5 or 6 models minimum. And then they're like, well, you take one away. It's just like a regular crew taking a model away, basically.
Pretty close.
But yeah. But Bat Family, it's rough.
Yeah.
Especially when one goes down pretty early.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. Joker did one-shot Damien. Just gat to the back of the head.
Ooh.
Yeah. Defense 5 Damien because he's small. And then just got him.
Luck.
I rolled triple sixes. It was straight fire. I just figured. So he was in the open, and he'd already maxed effort on an attack, and we thought at that point we were wrongly playing that you can only hit your effort up to your effort limit in the round, and that's it. So whereas you can actually effort up to your effort limit every time that you
have an opportunity to effort. Okay.
That anytime anyone activates.
Yes.
At anything that lets you effort, you can effort up to your effort limit. So it's not even an activation. It's just like anytime you can effort, you can effort up to your limit.
Okay.
Yep.
So we thought it was just like, all right, I've now efforted up to my limit in total from stuff, so I can't effort anymore.
Because Damien had attacked that round.
And maxed out, because I'd innervated 1, so his effort limit was down to 2.
Yep.
And so he'd already attacked and put max effort, 2 effort into it, so he had 2 stun on him. So I was like, he can't dodge, he has no cover, so I get 3 dice with Joker's gun. Strength die is a 2+, and it's 3 blood, and he's only endurance 5. So
2.
So if I hit 1 5, I kill him, and on the other 2 dice. So it's that's worth a shot. And even if I don't, I have a pretty good chance of having him close to dead.
Yeah, it's a good shot.
And then I just rolled triple sixes.
I mean, a 2+ and then a 5+ on 3 dice is really good.
It's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
But it turns out he could have efforted at least once to remove my strength die, which would have changed the math quite a bit, but that's a new game.
It's a new game.
Yeah.
A lot of rules will be wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
We have to really coach ourselves up before MuseCon.
That's true. That's true. We got some time, though.
Mm-hmm. A little bit.
Yeah.
It's coming up faster than you think.
I mean, I know, but if we're not playing a decent amount for the next 3 months,
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We gotta get some games with some of those Minnesota guys, and
that's true.
Nah.
And that Cookie Monster over here.
He said he
Cookie
wanted
Monster.
to come one of these weekends.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that'd be fun. But yeah, I do want to play Minnesota, guys. I was joking. Just relax.
Just relax. We're all just giving him death stares because we all love the Minnesota guys so much.
I was mostly like trying to cover up my nip slip.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. We think that's a cast?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
Yes.
cast.
All right.
Hour 45.
Yeah. We're back in there.
Solid.
Hopefully, we can get some more games in. Hopefully, we'll see more decks coming out. And hopefully, you'll start watching the other sources of content, YouTube, and checking it out there.
Yep.
I mean, maybe we can film a game with Riddler and see how bad it is.
Paint your stuff. I actually want to do. I've been like kind of thinking more and more about just like literally loading up the camera and then just shooting myself painting and talking to the camera or whatever. Nigel can do like painting lessons and stuff. 'Cause Nigel's a great painter.
Nigel is a fantastic painter.
And then we can, or it can be the Nigel coach lessons where Nigel actually coaches Josh and I on how to paint.
But you're also a great painter.
I'm an okay painter. But, I mean, also every time I paint, I'm basically asking Nigel how to do it. And then Nigel tells me how to do it, and I just do it. And then that's fine. And I normally screw it up still. But it's like, half of what if I can do half of what Nigel does, it's normally fine.
Colin at least actually does exactly like whatever I recommend.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a change of pace.
As opposed
Not
to
the
like
Crumptons.
I thought you just meant like when it comes to like work at the muse shop, it's like he does the exact opposite of what you recommend.
When I teach people to paint, you have like different types where they ask you something like, "What would you do with this?" And then I'll be like, "A glaze is perfect," and they're like, "Nah." You know, they just like they don't give a crap about what your opinion is. What color did you pick? Snakebite leather, like a kind of a yellowy brown. Nah. Okay. Whatever.
I haven't done that, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, it's similar to how when people ask you, Josh, about opinions on their Magic deck.
Oh, yeah.
And then you give them your opinion, and then they just go, nah.
Yep.
And it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
then why'd you ask?
There's like two ways. There's there's two motivations behind being asked, which is they just want you to reinforce what they already want, and then there's no way to know versus they actually want to implement like actual use you as a resource.
You'd hope they're asking to actually for your input, because if not, then they're just dumb. Like,
I mean, my thing is, even if it's not what I want, it's still, well, normally I'm asking Nigel, how do I get the result I want? I'm not normally asking him exactly what he would do. Mm-hmm. So like, it's like, what color do I want to make this leather the color I would want? And then he tells me how I would do that.
Yeah.
And then I do that.
Yeah.
So it's not really...
And you're like, damn it, Nigel, this turned out like a mess.
Yeah, and then there's like, I remember back when I did the War Machine Colossal, Nigel was kind of giving me like kind of teaching me airbrushing, because this is the first time I've ever done airbrushing. And he was teaching me airbrushing a little bit, and I was like, how do I get like Florida Gator colors on this guy?
Yuck.
And that Colossal looked awesome. But he kind of helped me like figure out the colors that I need to use and the techniques, and he taught me new techniques and how to do it and random stuff like that. So it's like, I don't know how you even ask for painting advice and not ask for that, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
there's a type of person who's kind of, they'll have an idea, and this isn't. I feel like a caveat is, we're basically talking about Crump, but it's not true. We're not. It's not actually just Crump that does this, but he is super bad about it. Yes. But they have an idea in their head of what they want it to like. They've already got a preconception, and so they're just asking you to confirm their preconception. And when it's different, it like destroys. It like triggers that you're altering their reality response, and then they have a negative sort of reaction to it almost, and then they flip, like they'll flippantly blow you off, but mostly they're just wasting your time, and it sort of super tilts. It's like, yeah, it's super tilting.
I think it helps when you have a concept of like, get your scheme, like majority. I think that's when I usually ask you, because like I kind of have a general idea of what colors I want, but I'll be like, hey, what's a good wash for red?
Yeah,
and you're like, use that brown, like aggro or shade.
Yeah. Also, you're usually super honest. Generally, you're like at the halfway point of the Nick zone. but you're usually super upfront about how do I do this. Also, I'm going to spend 0 time on it. So like that's your sort of I'm shooting this out of a cannon because I just want to get it done.
Shooting this out of a cannon.
So, but that's cool because I can be like, well, let's do some washes. I can just recommend the real specific. I'm not like we need like a 3-layer blend with like a blah blah blah. Exactly. So
I feel like Eggers actually paints with a paint gun. Like he just takes he goes to the store, buys a paint gun.
That's called dry brushing.
But I feel Eggers, like, I always have felt like Eggers models as tabletop quality, and for the time he spends are like they're pretty solid.
They're great.
Yeah, I'm happy with this.
I think
models.
for the amount of time he spends painting, his results would be like an A+.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. Like,
I mean, I'm super jealous because you can actually get stuff done, and I just sit there and agonize over not having.
This is definitely why I'm like, I definitely have showing my tiny peepee like like anxiety at the urinal, basically when it comes to painting, because I'm just like, well, I can get painted, and we'll put them on the video, and people are gonna be like, what the hell did he smoke before he painted compared to
It's pretty
these
tough to
guys?
actually see Batman models. Like,
Oh no, we're doing close-ups.
oh, okay, we're getting in there.
We're getting in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
When Bronze Tiger goes into counterattack mode, we're zooming in.
as long as you
And
use
there's a Dragon Ball Z clip.
as long as you use big,
I can do that now.
yeah.
Yep.
I
That's
just
what I
dropped
said.
one in
I
the
said-
video right now.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Oh,
Whoa.
no.
That was so cool.
Yeah, as long as you use big value changes with the Batman models, and then you blackline everything, you should be okay. So it's like if your belt, if you've got a green shirt and green pants and a yellow belt, and the yellow belt has a black line north and south of it, and then you could almost do no highlighting, it'll look good on camera. But you do a little bit of highlighting, and it looks super good
So
on
you're
camera.
telling me, grab a bunch of Knoll oil.
Yep.
Slap that stuff in there.
Only then you have to kind of repaint it because no oil just makes it actually look
It just
actively
darks.
bad.
Yeah.
Just makes it look like someone puked on it.
You know what's bad about this
Wait.
whole conversation is that I think this conversation is demonstrating that we need to do painting on our YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, I think the two of you for sure should do some painting videos. And
We maybe even do because we've got like a 4-camera setup. I wonder if we can do
Oh,
a
yeah.
weird Twitch stream where we have like the overall like top down of like all 4 people, and then you have like 2 close-ups of like where the top downs of the model,
yeah.
So like you can see a close up what I'm working on, a close up what Colin's working on, then we can move and make people watch
Like
what Eggers is doing.
a
I mean-
distance shot of what I'm working on, like
yeah.
real distance.
From 4 feet away, it's great. It's great from 4
He's
feet.
at the back of the shot.
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
Hey guys, check it out! Hey, it looks like it's got color on it! Yay!
Yep.
I will say, for painting, the hardest thing for me is actually determining a color scheme.
hmm
And then I'll usually, like, if I'm like, I'll analyze the paints that I have. I'm like,
Cooler, KULER.com. It's
Cooler.
Adobe. It's called Cooler. It is the most comprehensive, brilliant
for matching
for
color
So
schemes.
say you have one color you want to use, like the Riddler's green, and it's like that lime green.
Yeah.
You can choose a triadic, a bicolor, up to 5 color. You can choose all the different color schemes, the types. Like a triadic would be like 3 opposites, but there's some that are like there's a lot of different color theory going on. Where sometimes you'll get like a 5, it'll give you 5 colors, but 3 are kind of in the same spectrum and 2 are in the opposite spectrum. Like there's all kinds of like color patterns you can choose.
I think that's
And-
super beneficial too for
Yeah.
like a lot of things I don't think about that are really good schemes is like throwing tans and throwing these different like things that are really good in schemes. Like when you look at good designers and stuff,
Yeah.
like open source content in design and like UI UX, and you find the designers and they have these off colors that fit so well in these schemes.
Yep.
And like those are the really hard things that look so good on paint or just in design in general.
Yeah.
So it's intriguing, like, and to have help with that would go such a long way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's huge. And there's tough paint schemes where you're, generally speaking, I don't have to consult it, but there are times where it's like it would be nice where when you're going kind of like a monocolor. So say you're playing Penguin and you've got just like Tanner, and he's just wearing a black bomber jacket,
Yeah.
and he's got like a little frill thing around his neck, and then he's got a belt, pants, boots, and it's a lot of like nothing in there is going to be a red or a blue, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, what do I do with this? It's like a lot of colors that are kind of different, just values on the same spectrum. Well, Cooler is a perfect place. It'll give you colors that are wildly different browns, but actually go together. So when you put snake bite leather pants with like bestial brown trimmings, it doesn't cause your eyes to bleed. You're like, oh, I can see there's difference, but it looks good together.
That's super hard, honestly.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
When you have all these different, like even when you go to buy the paints in the first place, you're like, there's so many browns. What do I get? Do I have to get all these browns? Like, it's good to have that, like, because I try to, when I get a new scheme or something like that, I'll go buy those individual paints. And how I try to paint fast is usually my first one takes me a little bit longer than other ones to get that scheme down and to understand. And then, like, I think Blood Bowl is a good example of, like, once you can hit and have a general idea of where things are going to go, you're like, wham, 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 wham. And then you can start painting like somewhat fast in that. But
yeah. Cooler allows you to create an account and save also your color schemes. So if you like, people create schemes that go together. Like there's like all these designers who are creating patterns for like home decor and whatever, or websites.
Yeah.
And they'll usually name it, like if you're trying to do a website and it's associated with like the medical field, you know, so they're like, these are colors that are really strongly associated with medical fields or money, investment strategies or whatever. And so they'll create these like palettes that are designed to evoke a response, but they'll name it something like that, and you can save them. You'll be like, I'll put that in my little, you know, you can like go through and look them all up.
Pseudo like fast foods, like reds and yellows to make you hungry and things like that. Yeah,
exactly. So you can do, and it is literally telling you, but there's also a color picker. So say you want a quad scheme, like a quad color scheme. There's like a color picker too, which has literally the entire RGB spectrum in a circular shape. So you've got like it's like a cloud of red that goes into greens and into blues and purples and stuff. And you just pick like, this is my primary. That's the cool thing, is you're like, this is my primary color, and then what are my accents to the primary. So yeah, anyways, super huge resource if you're weird about color, because that's the one, even people who honestly do want my feedback, generally speaking, I get mildly tilted about giving feedback, because it's like, it's such a personal taste thing that nothing I'm saying is actually helping them. You know, all the color theory in the world, because they just like what they like, you know, so it's just no matter what, everybody's that way.
Sure.
So, you know, having a website where you can just kind of search and see your own stuff is like a super handy, you know.
Also,
spell it again.
Cooler, Kuler.
Okay.
And if you just Google it, it'll immediately pop up. It's an Adobe thing.
Yeah.
Another good resource if you're going to use Citadel paints is the Citadel app. So if you're looking for specific colors and highlighting up for their paints, and they go through a guide and show you how to do that, which is very, very nice. So like when you go in the store and you want to get a good idea of how to like bring highlight up, those go such a long way in terms of figuring that out. So like if I'm going to go buy browns to figure out how I'm going to paint those browns, it's like use these 3 different browns. And then you can kind of make some judgment calls. If you're like, I'm going to skip a step in terms of like highlighting, then you can maybe skip one of those purchases to go for just 2 of them.
Yeah.
So it's just nice. And I've used it before, and it's helped me when it comes to buying paints. So I feel like that's an intimidating part as well, is what to buy.
Yeah, for sure. Especially for, again, not for me, but for new people, or people aren't I don't even rationally understand. I don't relate. I'm like so old, and it's such a long time ago. I don't relate to the experience at all, and I've never experienced, like, I just never, I you know, in the road traveled, I just never went through this because I was a dumb kid, and I basically plowed into everything face first. You know, I was basically like Honey Badger, and I just picked paints, and I learned, and I just read magazines and stuff like that, and I was always eating up. I was never afraid to like completely annihilate my models and fail, which is what most people... That's the biggest
part, right? Like, I think that's almost just like...
It's such it's like a healthy component of it, but again, I can't teach that, or I can't help. But there's 100% when people ask, it's such a loaded question because they're so afraid of, like, there's so much pressure on them, and it's maybe because they started painting later in life.
Yeah.
And so there's like, I don't want to ruin this model, but it's like, you got to just ruin this model.
You just got to crank them out. I remember when I first started painting Space Marines, they're like these big yellow goops. And then I had like a Corn the Betrayer, and I put like armpit hair and stuff in them.
Yeah.
And it was like hilarious.
What?
Yeah, I got some armpit hair. I painted some black stuff in there for his armpit hair.
I thought you took your own armpit hair. And like,
no.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, why not though?
Yeah.
Give that real life effect. But yeah, I mean, part of it's just giving it a go, and you'll sometimes be surprised. And honestly, you can see these progressions. Like sometimes people show their progressions of like where they started at painting, and they end up in a good spot. It's like you just got to rip it, just send it and give it a rip.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I still had the first model I painted. It was literally just I threw one lime green color over a War Machine Chimera Warjack, and it's just lime green. And then I took like their like lime green wash thing that PP had, and I just threw it in all the crevices.
Mhm.
It was so gross, but I was so proud of it.
Yeah.
It was one solid color though.
Yeah, I mean, painting's gonna be awesome too. Like we're starting to get like, even though they're like me bases and they're huge, they're gonna be gorgeous. It's like playing with display pieces now for like the new stuff that's coming out for
I can't wait
for
to paint
characters.
that
Like having the Joker display piece and having that Roz painted up is gonna be, or like Bane the Bat. It's like,
I mean, that Joker seems miserable to paint, but it's gorgeous. There's just so many different.
It's all about that
things.
Harley. That Harley's bonkers.
mm,
That Harley's so good. And then Joker's super cool. I mean, it's the best Joker they've done, bar none. But
100%.
holy crap! And then just Roz is amazing, and his whole crew's amazing.
The new ninjas are insanely awesome models. Like the one that's striking down the Falcon, like all pretty, and the double daggers. Like holy cow! Like whoever is the sculptor there was like, all right, we're stepping it
They're
up.
like full on Super Saiyan right now. Like, I don't know if it's a new guy or just a guy that just has enough experience. Like we've literally seen the progression of their sculptors just with experience. But yeah, they're like
Whoever it is, they're incredible.
yeah,
And
the
for
way-
Nigel to say that they're incredible, they're incredible.
yeah.
I just now realized that in the last episode we said we were going to talk about League of Assassins, and we just skipped over them.
We did.
Yeah. But
We can. talk
oh
about it
no,
next
we
time.
didn't say that, but we talked about it.
Oh,
Oh yeah, because everyone hears
That
that.
happened after the cast.
you just
but-
let him behind the curtain.
Yeah, I forgot all about League because we were so excited about our game. Yeah, maybe next week we'll have to talk about League.
Probably.
Yeah,
Maybe
it'll be a week too late, but whatever.
And maybe there'll be a YouTube video with League
Unboxing.
in the near
I mean,
future.
they're ordered.
Mhm.
I did forget. I forgot to buy the card. The
Did you
decks
order
I can
them
do
from KM or from?
from Miniature Market.
Oh,
Yeah,
They're
'cause
just
KM's
they're pre
shipping now.
they are shipping now. Apparently,
Shipping now.
yeah,
Shipping
they're
now.
They're shipping now. If you order now, you'll get it now.
They're shipping now.
What's happening?
They said they're shipping now.
That's like
That was their Facebook post.
Like 75% of their Facebook posts for the last week has been.
Which is awesome.
like-
If their shipping is,
Yeah.
if they fix
I
their
think they're just getting
shipping,
ahead of like questions where they
Yeah.
get.
well,
Well,
It's like-
because
I mean, people are getting there. There's fully painted ninjas now on
whoa.
Facebook
because they're
page.
shipping
People-
now.
Yeah. Shipping now.
People over in Europe, I think, are getting them currently.
I mean, that makes sense.
They said
Which
it's
is-
like 1 to 2 days in Europe from the
yeah,
time
it's
you
like
order it to
4
the time you
days
get it.
That's
anywhere
awesome.
else in the world. Is what it.
Yeah.
And they also said
said
something about fixing shipping prices. Colin asked me to ask
Say-
them, but I didn't bother doing
Shipping cheap,
Yeah.
shipping now.
Yeah, if they figured it out, that's
That's
a
awesome.
huge deal.
It's super awesome.
So let's keep
Mm-hmm.
hoping.
Yeah.
But that is a podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
But first, I'm going to say one last time: if you like this content, want to see more, go to patreon.com/GCPD podcast oh my god, I screwed it
it.
up.
You just edited.
whatever. It's
You need a sound clip that just sort of you can paste in.
whatever. It's on the YouTube
It's on
video.
the screen. It's live.
It's in the description of the YouTube video. It's in the description of the podcast. Go check it out. Go follow us on Facebook. Give us a like. Please comment on our stuff because we like hearing from you guys. It kind of like gives us something to look forward to when we see comments.
Mm.
Even when it's just John Andrews trolling, we still love it.
Show us your nips.
Don't do that.
Yeah, John
I mean,
Andrews,
please,
you little horn
please, yeah.
get out of here.
Night. I want to go home.
I'm Colin.
Hey,
Josh.
Nigel.
see you guys.
Thanks.